Okay, so you really want to wow your guests. Why not, when you're serving a steak, take it to a whole new level and stuff it? I'm going to show you how to do stuffed flank steak on the cheap. This is a budget-friendly recipe, and it looks like $1 million. So I'm just checking my flank steak in the oven, and I've got the broiler on, which is a good thing. I was just browning that steak a little bit, and then we'll get back to that in just a little bit. So here we go. All right, let's start with the stuffing of this part of this recipe. I'm going to saute some mushrooms and onions. Now, I've got some button mushrooms, and I cheated a little bit, and I'll get the onions going first. And about 1 cup of finely diced mushroom, or onion, I should say. But I also want to finely dice the mushroom. And this is more of a method. This has a mushroom, onion, roasted red pepper stuffing with feta cheese. It's absolutely delicious, but you could do this same method and stuff it with all sorts of different things. Bacon and blue cheese would be delicious. You could do pepper jack cheese and green chilies for a southwestern twist on this. Again, the list goes on and on, so just stick with me and see how easy it is to do this. Don't be scared. This is one of those things you see at a fancy restaurant or maybe at a fancy party. You can do it yourself at home. Just wait and see. Okay, so I'm just kind of dicing up my mushrooms so that I don't have big chunks of them. There we go. Looks perfect, and they'll cook down a little bit when we cook them. Well, I was like, why aren't those onions doing anything? Because the burner wasn't on. That's no good. Oh, it's going to be one of those Mondays, is it now? Oh, goodness. All right, so in go our mushroom and our onions. And we're going to start sauteing those. And now I'm going to get to work actually on pounding the flank steak, and then I'll get back to the rest of the stuffing ingredients. Okay, flank steak. Flank steak is a steak that I grew up with. My mom, when we were growing up, was a huge fan of flank steak. She didn't believe that everyone should get their own steaks. And to be honest with you, we budget-wise, we couldn't afford that. So when we had steak, her idea of a steak was she'd get a big flank steak and she'd marinate it, and then she'd either broil it or my dad would grill it, and then she'd slice it into thin strips, and we'd all get a few pieces of steak. And you know what? Mom had it right, because yeah, I mean, these days it's nice to get a bit of steak, but it's not all that great for you. So this is a great way to get your steak craving, and it's affordable because this nice big steak is going to feed a bunch of people. So it's great on a budget. This is a lean cut of meat, not real fatty, but there are some tricks to it, to making it tender. And in this case, we're going to stuff it. So this is what a flank steak looks like. It's rather large, so this is going to serve at least 4 to 6 people with maybe some leftovers that you could throw into a steak salad. And we're going to make it actually even bigger. I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag, or you can put it between 2 pieces of plastic wrap. And I'm going to pound it to make it nice and thin so we can kind of roll it up jelly roll style and stuff it. All right, so into our Ziploc bag it goes. And this is going to keep it from splattering all over the kitchen, kind of keep it contained in our bag. Sometimes when you pound chicken breasts, half the kitchen is wearing them after you're done, and that's not a good thing. Okay, check out our onions and mushrooms. Did some grilling out over the weekend. It was so nice. It was just lovely. Planted some flowers. Love going to the nursery to get the flowers. Ireland and I did that Friday, and that's always so fun. I just never want to leave those gorgeous greenhouses, with all the flowers. And then you ooh and ah and decide which ones to bring home, and then Bob did a bunch of yard work over the weekend and planted flowers. And anyway, it's looking great. And actually, I guess the rain came just in time. I'm just checking on my flank steak here. It actually looks pretty good. I'm going to pull it out and let it rest, and then we'll slice it up. Here's a little sneak peek at it. Then I'll put it to the side and show you how we got to that point. Okay, so our mushrooms and onions are starting to get nice and tender. So yeah, Ireland leaves for camp this week. And you know when kids go to camp, they've got this list. It's like flashlight, sleeping bag, pillowcase, towels, all that stuff. You know, Ann. And then you have to label everything with, everything. They want everything labeled. Well, some stuff is not labelable. You know what I mean? Like black socks, how do you label those? So anyway, if anybody has any ideas, so we were labeling and getting all that stuff all weekend long, it seems, and I think we still got more stuff to get. The list, at a certain point, I'm saying that's it. We're done. It'll all work out. Got plenty of t-shirts and shorts. Okay, so now I've got my steak in my Ziploc bag, and I'm going to use a meat mallet, the flat side of a meat mallet, and really pound the heck out of it. You really want quite a bit of surface area. And I know this is loud, and I apologize for that, but there's no other way to do this. So it's a great way to kind of get out your frustrations at the end of the day. But you see how this steak is getting bigger and bigger. Here, Ann, have some fun with this while I work on a little more of the filling. Okay. Mushrooms and onion looking good. Oh boy. Perfect. Okay. Rest of the filling. We're going to do some fresh spinach. Oh, okay. Perfect, Ann. We get the idea. Thank you. She's doing it musically. Now, if you've got a company coming and you want to do this for them, you can get that steak pounded up to 2 days ahead. You can get this stuffed and in the refrigerator the day ahead, and then cook it off right before everybody gets there. So there are some things that you can get done ahead. I know 'tis the season for lots of entertaining. It's that time of year, so I get it. I want to get done as much as I can ahead of time. So the star of the stuffing, besides the onion and the mushroom, spinach. So this is going to taste great, but also look really pretty inside this when we slice it. It's going to have some great color. So this is just one box of frozen spinach. You don't need to cook it. In fact, I don't want you to cook it. But I do want you to put it in the microwave to let it thaw just for a few minutes, and then squeeze the heck out of it, just to get any of that liquid that's in there out of it. But I still want it to be that nice bright green. There's always quite a bit of liquid in there. And we want that to go away. This is still a little frozen, but when I run the warm water over it, that'll get it. And it looks like you've got all this spinach, but you really don't. Kind of disappears to nothing. All right. Ann's worried about my onions. Actually, this looks perfect. We'll get them off the heat now. All right, so spinach done and drained goes into my bowl, along with my onions and mushrooms, which I've cooked down. They smell delicious. Got some roasted red pepper. You can use the stuff from the jar. You could roast your own, or you could just dice up some red pepper if you want. Again, I like the idea of adding some color in there, and I happen to also love roasted red pepper. So we cheated. We just had a jar of it in the pantry. I usually try and keep a jar of it in my pantry at home. It's great to put in salads. So I'm just going to give it a rough chop. I can use the same knife that I used with my mushrooms. While I'm doing this, I hope you guys have all been reading the book club book, Fox 11 Living with Amy Book Club is back big time, and you are invited to participate. So I know a lot of you have said, I've always wanted to do it. Well, why not do it this summer? Go get the book we're reading and read along with us. The book is called The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. She is well known for her book. She's written many books, but Secret Life of Bees is probably her most famous book, which was a great book, one of my favorites, and also turned into a wonderful movie. So this is her new book, getting rave reviews. So go get the book, read along with us. You've got plenty of time. Our next book club meeting isn't until July, and we're headed to a great place in Swamico called the Bottle Room. They are now sponsoring our book club. They put out a wonderful spread, lots of great food, and so read along with us, and we'll give you more details about the book club meeting coming up. Okay, so now we've got some crumbled feta cheese, breadcrumbs, and this is optional. You don't have to do this, but we're going to do one egg just to bind it all together. All right. And this is our stuffing. And it smells delicious as is. This stuffing would be great, actually, stuffed in breadcrumbs, stuffed in chicken breasts, lots of different things you can do with it. Okay, let's get that flank steak. Thank you for the pounding, Ann. And I think the easiest way to do it is just do it on this big jelly roll pan. And again, this is going to be more of a method. So we're going to season that steak really well with salt and pepper. It's a big old piece of meat. Don't skip that step. Put the stuffing into the steak. Don't overstuff. If you have some extra stuffing, like I said, you could use it in stuffed mushrooms and chicken breasts. Bake it in a casserole dish even. I want to get that cheese in there. And then we're going to roll it up. And I should have just kind of done it on this side. If a little bit falls out, it's not a big deal. Just roll it jelly roll style. And then at this point, you can secure it with butcher string or toothpicks. You can pick this up they sell it at the grocery store. You may even be able to ask the butcher for some. So you're going to tie it in several places and season it again with salt and pepper. The outside of the roast, we just did the other side. We didn't do this side. So season it again with salt and pepper, drizzle with olive oil, pan sear it in a large frying pan and finish it in the oven. You can grill it, or you can just roast the whole thing in the oven. There's lots of different ways you can cook it. The real key to this is letting it rest, and here's what it looks like when it comes out. And then we're going to slice it up. When we come back for a break, put it on a platter, and that's going to be the real wow factor, is you're going to actually see the stuffing when you slice this and serve it, and people are going to go crazy over it. Not only going to taste great, it's going to look fantastic. Stick around, lots more how-tos, how to pick up a cheap bouquet of flowers from the grocery store and turn it into something that looks like $1 million, and how to cook salmon in a foil packet. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back.